It's a bit chilly.
Yeah, it's actually cooled down a little bit.
It's alright. We persevered through for the art or something like that.
Should we start?
I think we should.
Oh, one, two.
Oh, 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back
to the SketchPad Pod.
You see, we're actually filming the second episode for today.
If you haven't watched last episode,
that's quite good.
Yeah, you should go do that. Do that before you watch this one.
Right, today we're talking about how we try and live sustainably in a consumerist culture and where we find it easy, where we find it more difficult.
Lovely.
And we're not going to do like tips and we're just going to talk about it.
We've done episodes before on like giving tips for different things.
There are so many videos like that, to be honest with you.
We've decided we're going to be better than that. We're going to just...
Ooh, bold comment.
No. More that... Honor's made some notes. For once, I am always prepared.
Honor's made some notes. I've written down like 4 things.
I have written down nothing. Well, so it's just a bit easier to have this as
Did you say for once I am the one who's underprepared?
Yes.
I take personal offence to that.
Every time I come over to your house to film, I'm like, yeah, so are we ready? And you're like, yeah, I'm just making my notes now. I'm like, okay.
I'll have you know, I got up at 8:30 this morning to do it.
Wow, I'm proud. I did not get up at 8:30 this morning.
Wow.
9:30 was bad
I was going to
enough.
be like, where's my needle? And it's in my shirt pocket.
Love that.
Okay, so today, art-wise, I do apologise. It's not going to be very interesting for you all, but I need to sew belt loops and a pair of trousers I got from a shower shop, and it's one of those things that I'm just not going to get around to doing.
And also it's kind of on theme, you know.
Oh, that's exactly why I did it.
Exactly why you did it.
Yeah, that's the one.
Meanwhile, I'm going to be making some noise in the background.
Oh gosh, you are as well.
Only a little bit, and then I'll do some printing and drawing and fun stuff.
Just try and tune it out. Think of it as ASMR. Alicia's doing mono printing.
I'm doing some printing, some lino printing, some mono printing, some all that jazz.
Pencil?
I have.
That'll do.
There
I've got my other pair of jeans here to see where they usually do belt loops.
Love that.
I've got a nice pair of cream. I don't know what they made from.
Do they just not fit you properly?
No, they do fit. They do fit me, but 30%.
It's a bit squeaky, isn't it?
70% liner cell. What is that?
Probably a plastic. Who knows?
Let's be honest.
Yeah,
probably a plastic. They have these like drawstrings, which kind of look a little bit like frumpy. And frumpy is not my favourite word, but that's the one I just used. So there we go. So They look more cool cargo pants styles if they have a belt.
Yeah.
To make them look less like I'm a middle-aged woman. Not that there's anything wrong with that, Mum.
We love
you.
middle-aged women.
Also, my mum wouldn't wear this, so.
Is that why you like it?
No.
It's a very sustainable way of reusing.
Exactly. I'm using
the clothing.
Bunting ribbon, which is kind of like a cottony type thick ribbon for the belt loops, and I've got a pair of jeans on the floor that I'm gonna mark on sort of where you might have belt loops. So I'm gonna do 2. You know what? I can't be bothered to mark it on. I'm just gonna do it. Should I borrow those scissors?
You may.
Right. Should we start talking? Let's stop waffling. Oh, I was gonna do. Should we do a weekly wrap?
Weekly wrap. But the fact is, we just did
last
it
week.
last week, and actually we were filming both on the same day, so there's not really much to fill you in on, to be honest.
10 minutes wrap. After the last episode, I've eaten a piece of toast and some grapes. And
that's good for you. I stressed because my computer has no space on it and we have to put the footage somewhere, but we're just gonna figure that out afterwards because I couldn't make it work in our break. And I ate a few grapes and a Dairy Lee triangle, so we loved that.
That makes me laugh. Right, so living sustainably in a consumerist culture.
Ooh, who dis?
Do you want to start us off?
Yeah, so the reason why I sort of wanted to talk about this is because moving to uni, which, as you can see, is a running theme in our episodes recently, but I was so surprised by how many people just don't know how to recycle.
Yeah, because I thought that was just quite basic.
Yeah, so as a family, I think we've grown up as a fairly, like, environmentally conscious, at least we try to educate ourselves on environmental issues.
Yeah.
And so growing up, we always recycled and we composted. Then later, we now have our own chickens. Both of our households have our own chickens, so, you know, we get our own eggs. And my, like, stepdad has an allotment where we grow our own veg.
And, like, that makes us sound very bougie. It's just that our parents just really like gardening.
Love gardening. We live in the countryside, so it's a lot more, like,
it's like easier
accessible, easier.
And like I think both of our sort of families, gardening and having an allotment is like a hobby.
Exactly.
And your mum was a garden designer at one point, so she really loves that kind of thing. Also, when our great grandma died, she'd always had goats growing up. I like kept goats.
Yeah.
So the money that my mum was given when she died, we then used to buy chickens as like a bit of a memory thing, and also because my parents wanted chickens. So so we've always kind of I guess lived in a bit quite in like an environmentally friendly way, but like that's definitely like increased over the past
a few years.
And so like we're both vegetarian, and my family's like vegetarian and that kind of thing. And I guess it's definitely worth mentioning that we've always been really lucky in that we've been in a position, and our family's been in a position where we're able to live like that. And you know, my parents are teachers, so they're able to go to the allotment at the weekend, and they really love that, and they're able to spend like the money on the plants and that kind of thing.
So it wasn't that I was going to uni with the expectation that everyone was going to have that kind of level of environmental awareness, or like we're, you know, doing all of these things that perhaps our parents do, because everyone comes from different backgrounds and experiences, and that's just part of life. But I did feel like even the university halls itself should have a better recycling infrastructure.
Yeah, because you were saying some people don't even recycle, which one of the things I find difficult is like I feel like I'm doing as much as possible, like so like I'm a vegan and both try and only buy secondhand clothing and blah 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 blah, and it's quite difficult to see people like not even recycling, because it's like how it's really difficult when it's like I'm trying to do so much, and to me it seems like you're not trying to do anything at all, like even the bare minimum.
But then it's often because people just still don't know better, or haven't been educated as to why, or they know about recycling or that we should recycle, but they don't know how to. I get a lot of the time my flatmates will ask me, they'll be like, "Oh, Alicia, is this recyclable?" And it'll be like a crinkly plastic, or which obviously isn't, or it'll be cardboard, which obviously is, and but then I say obviously, clearly it's not that obvious to other people.
And I guess like growing up, like if I don't know if something's recyclable or not, I tend to just leave it on the kitchen side, and someone else will know and do it. So that's
a good idea.
It's a good idea for me, but obviously it's not great for mum and dad. But in that sense, again, like I think I rely more on other people than is like possible for some people. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But what would you say going to uni the hardest thing you've found trying to live like sustainably is?
Definitely, like buying my own groceries has been something. You become a lot more conscientious of the fact that so much stuff is just wrapped in plastic. And I think, you know, at the start I was buying just, you know, the stuff that I was used to or comfortable buying, but even that I realised that like back home we still used a lot of plastic, because plastic is only something that people are really becoming more aware that we should be avoiding now. And so I'm on a student budget. Obviously I need things to be cheaper, and the fact that sometimes the difference in price, it's like cheaper to buy something that's wrapped in plastic than not. I'm like, how is that possible? Because like surely it should be cheaper.
Yeah,
So that's something that I'm having to kind of grapple with at the moment.
Yeah, and especially living in London, like, you really don't have that money to spare because it's so expensive.
Yeah.
You're like, I know. And other ways of, like, being sustainable is, like, walking places.
Yeah,
and
true.
You're probably using far more public transport.
I am. I feel like I'm probably being better for the environment in travel-wise, perhaps in London. Although, obviously, London is... I have to travel quite a lot because London's such a big city, but I'm doing it rather than doing it in a car back home because we have such limited public services.
I can get the train a lot because I live sort of 5 minutes from a train station, and throughout going to secondary school I got the train every day, which is obviously great. But buses round us are really they're so like it'll be £3 or £4 to get the bus somewhere, and it's just like...
So yeah, I like walk to school, and I used to live in the same town as Honor, and so I was fairly close to the train station. But now I'm a little bit further out, which just means that you either have to get a bus which comes every hour and a half or 3 hours across lunch, which is expensive. It can be between like £2.20 to £4 depending on where you're going.
Yeah.
And then once you do that, it's time consuming. So obviously when I could learn to drive, I did. And it just...
Yeah.
The convenience of it was a lot better. Because
that's something I'm struggling with at the moment, because I recently passed my driving test and it's so difficult to not drive everywhere. But the thing is, I like driving. If I had like a Tesla, I'm sure I'd love driving because I do enjoy the actual process of driving, but I always feel guilty about the environment when I drive. So like, see, college has been like a bit difficult over the past couple of months. So to make my day slightly better, I did then drive to college. So probably so I passed in September, at the end of September, and I've probably drove every day for a couple of weeks. And then this week I was like, I'm not driving at all. And one day I was going into London because I had like a conference thing with one of my subjects.
Yeah.
One day my only lesson was cancelled, so I wasn't going to college. And one day I wasn't feeling great, so I did drive. So had I not been not at college for 2 of those days, probably I would have walked 4 out of the 5 times, which I think is quite good. But like it's so difficult when it's like so convenient to hop in the car and, you know. And again, the thing is, I do really enjoy walking because I listen to like podcasts, or there's like the BBC for news at 6. Which means I can like stay up to date with everything that's happening like quite easily. I listen to Guardian Focus podcast, which I really like. And there's this podcast I listen to called Coffee Break French, which is like a language learning.
Look at you getting on the podcast.
Because last year I would cycle. So I live in like a little village, and the next town along is where my college is. So I'd cycle into the town centre, and then it's like quite a steep hill, very steep hill, up to my actual college. So I was not cycling up the hill. So I'd cycle into the town centre, leave my bike, and then walk up the hill. So then that would be like 15 minutes cycling, 15 minutes walking, which meant that it wasn't really worth listening to podcasts and stuff. So I didn't. I always would just listen to music for the last 10 minutes up the hill. But now I've like gotten into podcasts a lot more, and I quite enjoy walking. I prefer in winter to just walk 45 minutes to college than to cycle and walk and it to be a half an hour journey.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even with driving, like, if it's on a very good day, if like traffic's, because it's like everyone in Godalming has cars pretty much, and there are loads of local schools, so the amount of like, especially there's like a private school halfway up the hill to college, and like everyone has like Range Rovers and like all these like yummy mummies with their like massive cars. Like
there's so many 4x4s
I know,
like round our way, and then you've got tiny country roads, and
it's just not
it's
ideal.
a nightmare.
And so on a good day, it can, if there was absolutely no traffic at all, sometimes I drive back
that didn't
from
work very well.
Yeah, so if I'm like driving home from friends late at night, say if it's like 11ish, 11:30, like, and the roads are completely quiet, it will take like less than 10 minutes. But like on a Monday morning, like it can easily take like 20 to 25. And by that point, like sitting in traffic's not enjoyable. So like I'd prefer to have walked by that point. So,
yeah.
But like you say, I think it's just difficult to make that extra effort because life's sort of made so easy for us with everything wrapped in plastic and travelling by cars, and it's easier to...
We have that privilege. That all of that is just convenient.
Exactly, and not make your own lunch, but just pick up something at the shop and that kind of thing. But it's just sort of making the effort to...
Whereas I think... sometimes people say, oh, but shouldn't we get like, developing countries to start with better like environmental infrastructures, because a lot of growing places like say China obviously now is a massive global power, but its industry, it took a lot more time to build and is based on coal and oil and massive
just as ours was
just
during
manufacturing.
The Industrial Revolution.
And they're like, oh, so we should get like, I mean, yes, we do need China to get on board, but like it's difficult to ask developing countries to do something which we didn't do ourselves.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like you've got to like lead by example in a way, because someone said something that really irritated me. It was like, we shouldn't be doing anything, it's China that needs to do all the environmental stuff. It's like, no, like this is like a crisis and the whole world does. Like it's not about the blame is on them and blah blah blah. It's like, yeah, some people are more responsible for creating the pollution than others, but nonetheless, like we all need to work together. Oh, I was just gonna say, I think like probably it comes down to being prepared, because sometimes if I'm like, I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh, I'm not very hungry, like I'll eat breakfast, but I probably won't be hungry at lunch. Like I know for a fact I will be hungry at lunch. So like a lot of the time it's like you've got to, like I always be prepared with snacks and that kind of thing. So when you're out and you get hungry, it's like you need to be prepared. So instead of just ending up buying something, you like already have a snack with you and that kind of thing.
This is the thing I've been trying to do at uni as well, is I come in with a packed lunch, which some people, I guess, they can hop home and have lunch, but because I'm working in studio all day, like I will be there across lunch, and I don't want to be buying something that's wrapped in plastic. No. But it does take a bit of effort every evening to remember to just make your sandwich for the next day.
Yeah, I guess you're quite a sandwich person. I don't really eat sandwiches, so I pretty much just have a portion of whatever we had for dinner the night before.
Yeah.
Which works quite well. Or like pesto pasta is a classic.
Yeah.
Okay. We had a break.
We had
half an hour.
Yeah, as you can see, we've changed our setup.
That was just for the aesthetic. It definitely wasn't because the camera ran out of battery.
Definitely wasn't necessary.
Right.
My tea is cold.
I haven't drunk a bit of my tea and it's thoroughly cold. I'm not in it, am I?
Your hands are like
Does
your
everyone
torso.
like my jacket? It's quite matchy with my trousers.
Yeah, it's a good thing you like dressed up today. I did not, so I'm kind of glad that I don't think
that's true. I could have. I mean, many a times I've filmed in my pajamas.
Anyway, I can't really remember where we were. We were just talking about my print, which is, coming along.
What a useful angle.
We love. Yeah, have you got any more questions or bullet points in your little notebook?
No. One thing I was saying is, even if zero waste, shopping at a zero waste shop can sometimes be expensive. So another option is bulk buying.
Yeah.
Because I know my brother and his friend bulk buy rice, by the kilo, because then obviously there is less plastic, but it's also usually cheaper.
I think zero waste, it doesn't always have everything you need as well. But the thing is, I sort of think if I'm going cheaper on other things at like mainstream stores or corner shop, if I decide to just, get my pasta or my my nuts or whatever at a zero waste, then because normally it's like pasta is one of the things that always comes in plastic packaging.
Yeah,
at a
and you get
superstore.
through a lot of it as well.
Yeah, so I feel like it's kind of where you're okay making that sacrifice or making that extra splurge.
Yeah, exactly.
But that being said, not everywhere has zero waste stores.
No.
They are a new thing in themselves. So it's trying to be savvy and look out for...
I saw a quote this week which was like, the person who created the light bulb had to use a candle to make it, and the person who created the car had to use like a bike when they were creating it. So you sort of use what's available to you at the time to make like choices, sort of thing. So I guess you can't, it's not easy to do everything always, but it's just sort of doing what you can, that kind of thing.
Yeah, we're finished on the zero wasting plastic,
So now,
etc.
why don't we take a 2-minute break to think about what we're going to talk about next? Okay, we thought of something.
So one of the things I've been thinking about is, I know this is going to be a shock to some listeners.
I know.
Whoa, but I've started doing some sport at uni.
Leisha has started to exercise.
I know.
It's a new concept.
It's crazy. Along with that, obviously, you need sportswear. And we've got a whole episode on fast fashion, and that's why we're not really gonna touch on it too much in this episode. It's season 1. Go watch it if you're interested.
That was actually one of our most enjoyed episodes of season 1.
Yeah, so clearly it's
By my
worth
mum.
a watch. Yeah. We didn't talk about sportswear and how difficult it can be to find in a sustainable way.
Sportswear and underwear are the two things, and swimwear and that kind of thing, that you can't really buy secondhand. Sportswear potentially, but I feel like it's less fast fashion in the sense that people kind of, to my knowledge, use the sportswear until it dies.
Yeah.
Or people around me do. Whereas I can swap clothes with my friends, I really can't give them my pair of sports leggings that I've used every single week for 3 years. I kind of stopped using
hygiene factor as well.
Yeah,
you feel a bit weird.
No,
getting second-hand stuff. I mean, saying that, I did go to some charity shops and I bought some sporty tops, but that's kind of okay.
Yeah, that's different, isn't it?
But leggings
are just more something second-hand like that, because potentially then less good quality, just it being see-through or stuff. If it's sportswear, I feel like if it's old, it's often baggy and it's see-through and that kind of thing, so it doesn't really work as well. But you recently bought some. Actually, I did as well. What have you bought recently?
So I haven't bought yet, but I did buy some leggings, some sports leggings from TK Maxx, because I feel like TK Maxx is a bit of a weird one. It's high-end brands that they sell for cheaper, but it's always going to be obviously the end of season stuff that the brands aren't going to be selling anymore in their actual shops. So I feel like it is in some ways second hand, but then I do feel a little bit funny about it because I'm still it's still a big corporation.
Yeah, I don't know how great they are, but I understand.
So that was one way that I thought of doing it.
That's cool.
Meanwhile, I've just finished the print. There you go. The other thing is I've asked for some sports trousers and a sports bra for Christmas on these online ethical sportswear brands. And the thing is, we've said this before when we've talked about like ethical clothing. It is more expensive.
It is, yeah.
It just is.
But sportswear is something you can kind of make an investment into.
You don't own a lot of sportswear normally.
No.
You have like 1 or 2 pairs of leggings and a couple of tops and
I think
a
it really
sports
depends,
bra.
because I think some people have a massive amount. But I do a lot of sport. I'm doing like training for a half marathon at the moment, so I'm running 3 times a week. I try and go to the gym like at least once, and I do like a box size class. So it means I'm like exercising sort of 5 or 6 times a week. So, and I've got, what have I got? I've basically got 1 pair of sports leggings and 1 like old backup pair if necessary. I've got 2 t-shirts, 2 sports bras, a thermo type fleece thing, and that's about it. Because I feel like a lot of the time it's like, oh, get all of these like sports clothes and blah blah, and it's like you don't need it. Like,
yeah,
it's kind of unnecessary.
It's become its own sort of like fast fashion.
Yeah, exactly.
Thing. Sportswear is a massive market
a lot of
now.
the time I hear like sort of like just people have so much sort of sportswear that they don't use, and it's like, what's the point? Do you know what I mean?
But I thought, considering the only sportswear I have is like from when I was 13, and it really doesn't
When
fit me.
PE was compulsory.
When PE was compulsory, and it really doesn't fit me well now. So I decided, I went to a charity shop, bought a couple of tops. That's easy. I've bought 1 pair of leggings from TK Maxx, but like I said, I'm getting some ethical wear.
Yeah. What brands are they?
I think it's Gila Active.
Yeah.
Is the one I'm looking at, and basically I will try and find the article and link it below, but there's an article that shows some of the UK like accessible ethical brands.
Yeah.
It is a bit more expensive, but also it's like I'm asking for it for Christmas.
Yeah, it's a bit of a treat. And
as a bit of a treat.
I shop from this place called Tala, it was this YouTuber who made like a sports activewear brand type thing, and it's like a lot of the stuff is recycled and it's ethically made and stuff, and like it is. So my sports leggings were like 40 quid, which like I don't really know if that's expensive. Like I know it's not cheap, don't get me wrong, but like paying £10 for something to me is expensive, because buying from charity shops, I expect if it's like more than £3, I'm like, well, it better be something special.
Yeah, exactly.
So I think 40 quid's for something that's going to last a long time, and like I do like D&V and wild camping and all that, so I like will use it a lot. Like I'm happy to pay that much, and they're really good quality, they're really nice.
One of the things this reminds me of is that, although we've talked about fast fashion and how we kind of go about trying to avoid that and tackle that, is that a lot of people who are students or are younger, a lot of my friends, they will just be like, oh no, but I go to Primark because it's the cheapest thing out there.
Yeah.
And I do really want to reiterate that, honestly, charity shops can be unbelievably cheap.
Yeah.
And it is just like all brands in one place. It's a lucky dip sometimes, but you can find some really good stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
For a lot cheaper, as cheap as Primark.
Yeah.
So.
And like, I mean, seeing as you can probably slightly see me, like this t-shirt here, it's just like a grey t-shirt, was like 3 quid, and this I got from a kilo sale, so it was probably equivalent of a £5.
Yeah.
And I've got these jeans on the floor that I was using to mark out the pockets of where I want my trousers, and they were from a vintage shop, and they're really unique. They're not something they've got this pattern, it's like pink, just, what's it called? Thread running down them. And they were like £25, which like, obviously, it is a bit of money, but also you would pay that, if not more, anywhere. So
yeah, one of the things we tried to talk a little bit about before was vintage shops. We don't have any in our area, but now that I've moved to London, it's like I bought a shirt for £35 the other day. Can you imagine?
You do quite like sort of vintagey, like quite statement pieces, I think.
But that's the thing, if you want something that's like quirky, vintage can provide that.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if you're going to somewhere like Topshop, H&M, you can easily be spending that amount of money on one or two pieces of clothing.
I walked into a shop recently, I was with a friend, and like I was like, oh, I really like that, like, oh, I could buy that, and then like I wasn't gonna, because I don't like shop from those shops, but the amount that was available, that the whole point is it's what's in fashion at the moment, and the amount of stuff I was like, oh, I really like that, I'd so wear that, and then it's like, oh, it's in my size, and if that's not the right size, then there's so many more like it, like there are so many other sizes, so it makes it like really easy.
It's convenience,
yeah,
again,
exactly.
isn't it? But I think that's something that Western culture, where everything is so
immediate,
fast-paced, immediate, and we expect to be able to get things straight away.
Next shipping with Amazon Prime, it's like the amount of like, it's like, yeah, but you never needed that tomorrow. People think of something and then it's suddenly like, oh, I need it straight away, I'll have to get that Amazon Prime and like get it tomorrow. It's like you didn't even realise you needed that yesterday. Like, why is it such a rush that you need it tomorrow?
Yeah.
The other thing that I try to do to be like, I'm not saying it's like the most sustainable thing ever, but it's better than, in my opinion. I try to avoid Amazon these days because of tax avoidance. I'm not really a big fan of.
Yeah, nobody likes that.
Except whoever owns Amazon. But there we go. Instead of, say, buying art supplies on Amazon, I try and go to like my local art shop and that kind of thing. Just because the amount of things you think you need, and it's like, well, do you?
Yeah. Talking about art and art supplies,
Yeah.
I think another thing is that they do try and make you think about at art school is the sustainability of like art as a practice. Like, art, I have to be honest, is not the best thing.
It's not. No, I was thinking this earlier.
But what I've been doing, also, it's like buying art supplies all the time
is expensive.
So one thing I've been doing recently is I got some, like, the fabric I used was from a charity shop, and then I made one piece and then I cut it up and I used it for another piece, and then I used the scraps from the cut up to make another piece, and I reworked over the same fabric like several times.
This is the thing, well, like that lady who, what was her name? Hang on, Tracy Emin, who reworked her canvas for 11 years until she liked it. Like, even in my like day-to-day sketchbook, even though it's supposed to be like a casual type thing, even if I don't like a page, I will just work over it, because why not? If there's not something I particularly want to keep on it, I can just paint over it and reuse it.
Yeah. And
I guess like I quite like doing, so I've got like a denim jacket that I do lots of sewing and embroidery and stuff on. Like, that's quite nice because the denim jacket was from a kilo sale and it's wearable, which is why I quite like doing stuff on things I already own, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So like I'm quite enjoying sewing this. It's quite therapeutic sewing these belt loops on, and it's something I needed to do. I guess you can definitely use like your art skills for good though by like my friend had a rucksack that was broken, so I was like, oh, I'm happy to sew that for you, because I prefer her to still have the rucksack, and it didn't take me long to sew it, and it like improved my skill because now I know how to do that kind of thing. But,
my friend, she bought some shoes from a charity shop, and then she asked me to like paint them for her, to give them a bit of new life, you know. Yeah. And I've said that I'll do it again for another friend if they want me to. And yeah, it's just, that's one of the things about learning even the basics of like how to sew, or just like getting some fabric paints and being able to revitalise things that you already own is a great thing.
Because like with my wallet, my purse that I was painting
in the last episodes,
I might as well show how much I did. Basically, I had this purse and I scraped all the like pleather edge off it. Thank you very much. And I'm painting it in a, who was it? Monet? Van Gogh?
Van Gogh.
In the style of a Van Gogh.
Van Gogh.
Van Gogh painting.
Yeah.
So it's like, I came downstairs and I'd like scraped this pleather off, and like it was on the kitchen table, and I think, who was it? Dad was like, "Can I guess what you're doing?" He was like, "Are you refusing to throw that out and just sort of scraping that off and redoing something with it?" I was like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah.
Spot on. But yeah.
And my recent thing is I've started darning my tights.
Yes.
Because I'm refusing to buy
tights
more.
are one of those really irritating things that rips so easily.
Yeah.
You know what I really want? Was I talking to you, or was I talking to... I was talking to my friend. I really want... You know, back in, like, junior school, you have, like, those really thick grey tights. Did you ever have
Yes,
them?
yeah.
Like, a nice pair of them. Or, like, a black pair. You actually might have a pair. That's actually sort of woolen tights that are not going to break as easily and are actually warmer. Like,
yeah.
That's what you want.
I'm not sure. I have some very thick tights.
Yeah.
And yeah, they don't break as easily, which is great. I think also what I'm going to do is I will use any tights that are kind of too broken. What's the word? Too holy? That seems
Yeah,
wrong.
that'll do.
And I'm going to use them in my artwork because
Oh, yeah.
I do use fabrics and soft materials in my
Yeah.
work, so it actually works out.
Yeah,
quite
well, if
nicely.
I'm like using fabric, I try to use like so the amount of sewing projects I've done with this pair of jeans that Leisha gave me that you got off Depop.
Oh, my life.
They fit weirdly as jeans, so I cut them down into shorts. And I still use the denim fabric because denim's like a really good... That's what I use to repair my friend's bag because it's a really strong fabric. So it's quite good. Then I use the fabric from the trouser legs to put different coloured denim patches on this like dungaree dress I had. And then I can't really say what I'm doing with it next because it's a Christmas present for someone. But I'm using it again.
We love that.
I know. But
Reduce, reuse, recycle.
and that is where we're going to end it.
Thank you very much for listening and maybe watching. It's been kind of a chaotic episode.
Chaotic good, though.
Yeah, I don't know why I've just suddenly done some printing onto our actual newspaper, but there you go.
Yeah, that's...
It's not looking good. But
that's useful for the next episodes we're about to film.
we love that. Sorry. We will post pictures, as always, of our actual work on Instagram.
Yeah.
And let us know any sort of things you struggle with sustainability or environmentalism, or if you want to do a tip. I know we didn't really go for top tips, but if you have any, let us know. It's always nice to hear
And
them.
the SketchPad Pod on literally everything.
Yeah, self-promo, we love.
Toodles, my noodles.
Toodles,
Bye.
bye.
Bye.